All right, Dad, we're at Alberton Oval, the home of Port, so going to get into some questions about the 04 Grand Final, but we'll start off with what was your earliest footy memories and what was it like coming to the juniors?
My earliest memories, we're playing over in Port Lincoln at Melly Park. Started when I was about 5, played over there for a few years, and then I went up to Darwin and played at St Mary's, and then I actually come down to Adelaide and started playing for the Magpies when I was about 17.
Yeah, tell us a bit about Alberton and a couple of memories you have here.
Well, coming from Port Lincoln was in Port Adelaide zone, and then when I actually moved here, I was 17, I was a kid, started playing in the under-19s, and then from there I went up to the reserves and league. But I always remembered playing here at Alberton Oval. This ground was always packed with our supporters. It was always a great place to play. The atmosphere was unbelievable, and I'll never forget those days there.
So we'll get into role models. Who were your biggest role models coming up to the juniors and even in the AFL?
Well, my role model, I guess, in footy and in life was my dad. My dad was always there when I was playing juniors. When I moved over here, my dad came over as well, and he supported us for a few years, mum and dad. So Dad's always been there, and I think like now that you can see that he's there for you as well. So yeah, I think my dad was my biggest role model.
A couple of years later, after you come to the AFL, obviously Uncle Sean got drafted to Port. Tell us a bit about that. It must be pretty special playing with your brother.
It was special. On draft day, we actually watched the draft at home. Myself, Sean, and Graham Johncock was there. Sean was picked 12, I think, by Port Adelaide. And even before the draft, Mark Williams said if Sean's still there at pick 12, we're going to take him. So that was Mark's call. So yeah, that was great because when you play AFL, you don't really get to pick where you play. So to come and play at Port Adelaide, it was a dream come true for us.
So Choco, so one of the greatest coaches of all time. What's it like being under him, and what kind of influence has he had on you?
Choco, yeah, he was an unbelievable coach. He was one of those coaches, he had control of the playing squad. And if you look back to our side when we won the premiership in that side, a lot of big egos, a lot of big players, but Choco was he was that person that could keep everyone together. I guess getting us playing the best footy that we could play to win games, and yeah, Choco was awesome for us, and he was also a good teacher of young players as well. So he was a really good teacher.
Yeah, what was your approach coming into 2004, the whole squad and yourself?
Well, I guess before 2004, it was us in Brisbane. We were the best two sides, but unfortunately we just couldn't get over the hump. But I think those 2 or 3 losses before we actually got there probably actually did us the world of good, because it actually taught us what it took to actually get there and to win. So I guess if you don't have our failures in life, how are you going to win?
So leading to the 2004 Grand Final, obviously there will be a lot of pressure going into it. So talk to us about how the team sort of coped with that and how that went about.
Yeah, there was pressure, but coming in we were quietly confident. I guess the pressure that we were feeling were from the media and the supporters, because we had fallen short previously. But I guess the pressure that we were feeling the most was the pressure that we were putting on ourselves, because we know that we had to perform, and we know that we had to win this game, because if we didn't, it would have been tormented souls for the rest of our lives.
So Choco, is it true that he brought the Indigenous boys into a room and sort of sat you down and talked to you about the game? What did he say in that moment?
Yeah, that's true. We had our team meeting, and then afterwards he called myself, Sean, Byron and Gavin. I think it was into a spare room.
They've gone out of their way to understand what the coaches want, the setups we want, how we want to play.
Pretty much he just said to us, you guys, if we are going to win tomorrow, you guys have to play well and play to your strengths and play your game, play with flair, take the game on, and that was basically his message. And yeah, he said that we just had to go out there and just play our best for the team. So yeah.
Yeah, so watching the game back a couple of times, and I've noticed, the intensity of the game and the physicality of it. Sort of talk to us about, what it was like playing in that game and in the moment.
Yeah, well, obviously, like Brisbane are a great side. In my opinion, that's probably the best side of all time. And yeah, like coming into that game, it was a great rivalry. It was like really intense, really physical. The crowd was, it was just going off. Like you couldn't really hear much, and it was just goal for goal. And I think probably up until halfway through the third quarter, that's when I think we started to break away. And yeah, I think that game was probably the last game of where you saw two big tough sides, and with real men playing. And yeah, the game's changed now, so you probably won't see that kind of footy ever again. I think when I really felt safe and I thought that the game was won was when I think it was Adam Kingsley kicked the goal.
So many great stories in this Port Adelaide team. Adam Kingsley suffered rejection early. He adds to it with a goal.
I ran up to him and I put my hands in the air and I said, brother, we got this, and I was happy. And he just said, mind back on the job. So mind back on the job until the siren went.
So once that siren went, what was the emotions? Obviously you reached the pinnacle, so what were you feeling at the moment?
I guess it was surreal. It was just like a flashback, I guess, from being a little kid, talking to my father, as a kid growing up, right out through my footy, and just all those thoughts come back to me, and just everything that you put yourself through as a footballer playing AFL. And yeah, it was just a beautiful moment. And believe it or not, probably the thing that stuck in my head was you and Trent was my kids. So that was probably the biggest thing, was thinking of my kids.
Number 7, Peter Burgoyne.
Yeah, I didn't even think twice. I went up, I grabbed you, and I grabbed Trent because I wanted you to be there with me and share the moment. And here you are now playing, so you can look back on that moment forever, and hopefully that can push you to try and get one for yourself.
So just finished our lap at Alberton. Got to ask you a couple of good questions and got some good answers out of it. So yeah, thanks for that, and thanks for everything over the years and support. So thank you.